Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm sorry it's been a long time. Well, it feels like a long time. It probably really isn't, but hello. I'm sorry. I think I've already said that. And welcome to my channel again. So,
Hi,
here to the right of me.
this is
Hello.
Linda. I'm from Potentials podcast, and we decided to do this together, like kind of off the top of our heads. So we're just going to wing it, and we've been chatting a lot lately about all the different things that have been going on and all the craziness in the world right now. Yes, yeah, definitely. It's just been wild.
And I think that's perfect. I think, yeah, I think I'm just going to explain a bit more on that. So
Go
I
for it.
because there's so much, isn't there? I'm like, where do I start? So let's start with some of the recent things or current things that's happening right now. And I don't tend to actively go out my way and follow all these things that's unfolding with P. Diddy and unfortunately Liam Payne, rest in peace, Liam. Yeah, that's awful news. We're going to talk a bit about that as well. um I generally just go where the energy takes me. I generally do, because there's
Same.
quite yeah, there's quite yeah, and Linda understands this, because sometimes we get a hard time from other light work, and it's like, you shouldn't be focusing on that, and you're just doing
It's
what
a
they want, and you're getting
distraction.
distracted.
It's a
It's a distraction.
distraction. Yeah.
And sorry, guys, if you think I'm making fun, but I'm not really. But it just gets
I
a little
am.
bit grating, because it's like, as a sensitive, if you're a sensitive and an empath and an alchemist, naturally you've got no choice. Or saying well, we have, of course, we've got free will, but what I'm saying is, if you look at us all as for energy and what we are, when there's when all of a sudden the collective is jumping on the bandwagon, whether willingly, let's just say normal people, or whatever that is. We get magnets. They draw us. Our energy is like, because we're healers, we're here, we're alchemists, and we go wherever the energy is needed. So it's literally, it
Mm.
feels like we're being catapulted and projected there.
Yeah, right.
And perfect example, I've mentioned before, I don't look up to celebrities. I've never been one to, like, I appreciate, good actors and good artists and music and things like that, of course. But I'm not like these crazy fans, no disrespect.
No,
I
no
mean,
worship, no celebrity worship or
yeah,
idol worship here. Like
there's
the whole idol thing, like it's just so silly.
it's
Yeah.
so silly. I never got it. I still don't get it. So my point is, what I'm trying to say is, Linda knows this already. It's like, I've never been one for bands and boy bands. Of course, I listen to music, but I don't get hyper focused and fixated usually on any kind of bands or news or, deaths of singers and artists and stuff like that. It's not because I'm cold. It's just because, you know, um,
You're in your
I just
lane. You're in your
I'm
lane,
in I'm in
you're
my
just
lane.
right.
I'm
You're,
exactly, I'm in my lane. But this time, with hearing the passing of Liam Payne,
mm,
it was different. Again, I was catapulted there, and I just remember into that energy. And I could, and I kid you not, I was so fixated. I hardly got any sleep. I hardly got any rest. I couldn't take my distraction away from him. Again, I've got the chills as I say this, because it felt like, of course, not really the whole of the collective, but a huge, substantial amount of the collective energy was whoosh, straight there, and I was catapulted there. So I needed to know, who is Liam? What's his energy? What is he about? What's the meaning behind this? All these things. I delved into his energy,
mm.
and again, I just couldn't pull away from that energy. And yeah, it's just been a lot, really.
It's just
And
very
I even
intense. Yeah.
it's very, very intense. And I think, well, not, I think, I believe, and of course it's up to you listeners what you want to believe, but, we've all been greatly affected by celebrity passings, or just anyone passing, but especially those in Hollywood. Whitney Houston affected people greatly. Michael Jackson, he was very beloved by a lot of
Mm.
people. So there's always been, people mourning for these sad passings. But and again, I was very unaffected out by that. I was in my lane, they were in their lane, that's fine. But what's happening is now, it's because we're walking into our heart chakras, we're walking into our heart energy. Many of us are in our heart energy. And because there's a lot of integration going on, I mean, we've been saying that
Yes.
word a lot, haven't we, Linda? Integration, not only on a personal level, but on a collective level. So when now, you know, something that probably didn't upset us or impact us energetically, emotionally too much in the past is now really affecting us. Like, as crazy as this sounds, Liam's passing almost feels like a part of me has passed with him, because we're all connected. And this is
Yes.
why we see in the collective grieving 10
Mm,
times more than even Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston. I mean, some of you
mm.
might disagree, but there are some of people grieving to that extent. Even
It's
people like myself are like, I don't understand what's going on.
yeah.
I don't grieve like this, and I
It's
can't
very
get Liam.
impactful. It's very impactful. See, I think what happens too is it's part of your generation as well, because he's kind of close to your age, you know.
Mm,
And so like
mm,
Princess Diana was like a little bit more closer to my age. So when she
yeah.
died, it was like a collective,
Mm,
oh my God, you know, like everybody just was in shock, you know, and the whole
yeah.
world focused on her. And I mean, I'm not saying that Liam and Princess Diana are the same type of energy. They're different types of energy. But all of these
Mm,
people that you just named, like Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Liam, you know, Princess Diana, all of these people were kind of egregores, you know, they
mm,
were putting out huge amounts of energy and, you know,
mm,
putting so much energy out and then getting fed back all of this energy from other people that it turned into an egregore. And so
mm,
when that happens, it just impacts when that egregore passes or is no longer there, it has to be replaced with another one right away. You know, it
mm.
seems like that's how the energy works and how it
Yeah.
shifts.
Mm.
So it's so we just get caught in it, where because
Like a
it's part of a
vacuum, we're sucked to it. Yeah, like a vacuum.
it just
Yeah.
pulls us in. And even though
Mm.
Liam, I had no idea who he even was. You know, before you told me that he passed, I had no idea who he was. I
I didn't know
I'd heard of
until
One
my energy got
Direction.
stuck there.
I mean, I there's a lot of music that I like and that I that I'm pulled to, and I'm not. And I once I listened to Harry Styles, and you shared with me some of his music. I was like, wow, I really like him. He's good. I would listen to this. I just didn't
Mm.
know, you know. And so, like, it's funny because you just it's not you're in your lane, like you said. You're just not really paying attention, and it's not coming. You know, it's not bleeding into you know your bubble or whatever you want to call it
Mm.
until it does, until everybody,
Mm.
like you said, it becomes a collective consciousness where we're all noticing something at the same time, and
We are.
we're integrating our energies.
It just seems like, you know, each day, each new disaster or loss or event that unfolds on the planet, which seems like a new thing, like every week now, and all of you can admit that, you know, it's undeniable. It's just one thing after another, and I feel energetically and spiritually we are all collectively going through that, whether we are the experiencer in the hurricanes in Florida, or whether we knew Liam
Mm,
or not. You know, we are all being we're just all being affected. So it's like we're all going through this healing, we're all going through this um integration and transformation and loss and mourning. And you know, and I feel that's bringing humanity closer together. I feel it. I'm starting to see people
mm.
that wouldn't usually cry and show empathy about things, and now they're just an absolute blubbering mess and they're confused what's going on. You
Yeah.
know, we really are coming together, you know, as a species, as you know, as
And
humanity, and I
if
love
I could
that.
just jump in here, I want
Mm,
to say thank you to everybody that was really the outpouring of empathy from people as we went through the hurricanes, because I am in Florida. I'm in Sarasota, where two
mm,
of the hurricanes hit, Helene, and then a week later, Milton hit us double. You know, we got double fisted. Yeah, it's not the
mm,
right word, but anyway, you know, like we got hit twice in 1 week, and you know, like a week apart. It was insane, and we knew it wasn't natural, and we knew
mm,
it that this is not normal, you know. So but people were very, very empathetic from all over, the outpouring of concern and empathy and, you know, just love that people gave us from all over the world. You know, people were reaching out that
mm,
uh, that I didn't know, total strangers. Just very nice. And so it just that feeling of, yeah, we're coming together. People are caring more, I think. I feel like there's more caring happening right now. We're caring about, because it's
Definitely.
all happening to all of us all at one time. Because,
Yeah.
while this is happening in Florida, something else is happening on the other side of the world at the same time, and then even within our own countries, things are happening. So things are happening in your country right now that's, that I'm not even hearing about because they're not telling us, same, that's how I find out what's going on, is I talk
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
Same here,
Same.
right? Back and forth, right?
Yeah, definitely. We're like our own little news reporters, aren't we? This is going
Yeah.
on my end, and you're like, this is going on your end. And
Yeah.
no matter where you are on the globe, it's like, over here, we were just, we were just like so worried for all you guys in Florida. And the amount of times I was scrolling through TikTok and crying. I was just like, hearing all these stories, listening to people's worries and fears, and they couldn't go anywhere, and they're worried about their animals, and then losing their homes. And I was an absolute blubbering mess. I was, and I wasn't the only one. Whether you're sensitive or not, technically we're all sensitive, and we're all feeling, all of this together. We really are.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, but we know, like, Linda said, it definitely, it was not natural, like a lot of things that were, aren't natural. And so, yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, I could go into a little detail with that. I don't know how much I want to put it out there, but like I could say that I have a friend who has experience with scalar waves, and I'm not going to name names, but a few people that I know actually that have experience with scalar waves and what they do. And if you're curious about scalar, look it up, Google scalar, Google scalar waves. It can be used for good and also for bad, evil purposes. It can be used for healing. There are some healing mechanisms that we have, that one's called Therify. I would recommend that for healing. It's a bed that you lay in, and it scalar waves, and there's more to it than that, but I'm just going to say that that's basically what it is, that there are these certain types of scalar waves that will heal your body, and you'll come back from some pretty severe illnesses. It's pretty amazing. But it can also be used as a direct energy weapon. It can also be used, scalar technology, for controlling certain things. And so this friend of mine was able to recognize that the hurricane was being hit with these scalar waves and manipulating it to go a certain way. So we were able to, through another group that I'm friends with, we work together to create a grid around Sarasota in order to protect it. I'm sure there already was protection here, because this is a very highly spiritual area, and there are people here who already were, putting up protection, and very astute at doing this. So they were already doing that, but it was just another layer of protection that we did this grid, that we put these certain rocks in a grid form around the parameters of Sarasota, and then we were able to use that grid as a protection. It actually really did work.
I lost you there.
Yeah, well, I lost you, actually.
Oh, you I don't know, you teleported off, you went somewhere and you got back in.
Same with you. I lost you for a second. Yeah, you were black for a second. I don't know what happened. You did the same thing.
That's never happened before, has it?
Hope. So anyway, hopefully, so what happened what we saw was that during the time that Milton was coming right at us, it was I think it was a category 4 at one point, which would have completely wiped us out. And we'd just had Helene the week before that had flooded everything, and had flooded the entire, all of what we call the barrier islands near Sarasota, which is, there are 2 keys that are right near it. It had flooded them completely, and a lot of people lost their homes. A lot of restaurants and shops and things had to be were completely gutted because of this. It was horrible. So we just recovered from that. We're just barely recovering from that. And then Milton was coming directly at us. So if at a category 4, it would have wiped us out. So
Yeah.
we were, sending the scalar waves that were being used against us and aiming it at us is basically what it was doing. It changed the direction of the way, and it was changing the trajectory. So, and you could see it on the radar, not the Weather Channel's radar. You had to look at it from like Google Earth and see what it was doing. And then once it got close to, I'm going to say maybe 100 miles away from Sarasota, it started breaking up. And it was really amazing because people were saying that the celestials were coming in and that they were bringing in the cool, dry air from the northern part of the Gulf down into close to where we were in the southern part. And it was breaking up the hurricane. So it started breaking up, and it put it down to maybe like a category 3, category 2, I think, by the time it hit. And we got the eye. If we didn't get the eye of the hurricane, we would have been flooded completely. But it went south of us to Venice, which is the next town down. They got flooded, unfortunately, but they could sort of take the hit because they hadn't gotten flooded during Helene. So they weren't as bad off. So they got the brunt of it, and we just got the high winds, which we still got a lot of destruction. I'm not going to say that didn't happen. We had a lot of trees that came down, but nobody died as far as I know. There was no death toll. There was just a lot of destruction and high winds, but nothing. We lost electricity for some of us a week, some of us less than a week. We lost Wi-Fi. We lost, I'm sure people lost their food. They lost, some of their possessions. I'm not sure exactly what everybody went through. We all went through different levels of it. But it was pretty severe, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. It could have completely wiped us out, and it didn't. So there are things that you can do to stop these events from taking the toll that it could take. If you do certain types of energy work, it does work. So I just want to encourage people to try doing that. If you see something and it sort of brings it back to the integration thing, where if we all learn how to do this together as a body of people, as a consciousness of people, we could be so powerful. We could stop them from this weather modification where they're trying to come at us with things and trying to like they did in North Carolina, trying to just wipe out that entire town so they could have the lithium mines that were there, and the land grabs that they do, like what they did in Paradise and Lahaina. And this can keep them from doing that if we really concentrate on using our powers and focus and learn how to do that as a collective. It's very powerful. Yeah.
And a lot of us used our intentions. I know myself and another friend.
Yes, you did.
She, bless her, she was up until early hours in the morning with you guys, and
wow.
she was just there with you, and we were just basically visualizing, setting that intention and visualizing as kind of like just energy work, pulling it apart, weakening its power, because that was designed. Like you say, it was meant to have been a category 4, maybe pushing 5. I think I heard at times. I don't know how true that is, and that was designed to wipe a lot of people out.
That's what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to do the same thing that happened in North Carolina was supposed to happen here. And and thank you. I just want to say thank you for doing that, and for your friend and for everybody else who did that. Thank you so much because it's because of you. It's because of all of us doing this together. It's because that was designed, and clearly, and it's just you want to say it's a miracle. It is. We do these miracles every day. We don't even know the miracles that we're doing.
It's so true. The power of our mind and intentions. We this is why we have to be careful. What we think and feel and believe, because it manifests so quick. And when the whole collective consciousness gets on board, let's just say these elites, which they do, and the cabal and whatever else you want to call them, the scumbags,
Mm-hmm.
that they project thoughts and ideas, in the world, and usually with fear behind it, or they know it's going to trigger fear in people. And then, of course, boom, everyone jumps on it as a collective consciousness. They feed into that fear and they manifest it. And they're sat there going, they've got their hands clean. Technically, that's how they get around free will. Sometimes they do get their hands dirty, but, technically it's like, well, you guys did it. What we did was just put an idea out, and you guys, you fed into the fear and you manifested it. So really, you've only got yourselves to blame. They're very clever, and it's a real thing. And we know ourselves on a personal level. I mean, the synchronicity, call it synchronicity, manifestation, whatever you want to call it, same or different, but, it's like if you think about something, I mean, like yesterday, the synchronicity for me was off the chart. And I'm not just talking, the angel number synchronicity that many of us see. I'm talking like, I'm talking about specific numbers. Seconds later, Linda pops in my inbox with that number, because at the time around the time that I was talking about it to my son, about the meaning and the frequency behind this particular number, which I won't get into. You were going through something where, where you are.
The number popped up for me. The number popped up for me at the same time that you were talking about it.
In digits, it was 666.
Yeah,
I don't want to get into it, but
it was on a I was at an ice cream place, and that was my receipt. That's how much it came to, 666, and I looked it up, and it's an angel number, and it doesn't have to be evil. It doesn't have to have an evil connotation. That everybody always associates, evil, dark things with the numbers 666 and 13, because they've been taken over by the cabal. They've been taken over by the elite. They weren't naturally designed to be evil numbers. But just like anything can be used for evil or good. So when there's something evil attached to it, you should also look at maybe what the possible good interpretation of that might be. So that's what I tried to do. And so I looked it up, the angel number, and it was actually a message to me that I needed to really hear in the moment. And thankfully, I'm glad I got it, because it definitely made me change my focus. Yeah, it was great.
Absolutely. So me and you were in sync. I guess our higher selves were communicating. I'm talking about these numbers. Literally, not even a minute goes by, and I wasn't even like I heard my phone go off. I was actually drawn to look at my phone, and the last message you sent was with the number 666, and I showed my son. I was like, "See, this is how easy it is." And he was like, "Oh wow!" And then we was talking about a singer. She I can't remember her name, British singer. She died many years ago because she wouldn't fit into a triangle. She refused. She was like, "No, I'm not going there." I can't remember. You're gonna have to help me out. The one who sings "Back to Black."
Oh, Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse. Yeah, she's one of my favorites. I love her.
Yeah, because we was talking about signs,
not worship, but love.
Yeah, we were talking about signs and patterns and synchronicities to look for in our life's history, events, what's happened to us, what we've done, our experiences. Because if you really dissect, you can actually decode your life, and there's so many clues and hints in there regarding of the type of person you're going to be, where you're going to head, perhaps even the way you're going to die. And think it's not always the case. I don't want to scare people out. Like, oh, I've had loads of experiences. I've been in a car crash. I might die in a car crash. I'm talking about myself there, because that was what happened to me. But it can be a sign, of certain ways you could possibly leave the planet and stuff, which I want to get onto if I've got enough time about Liam.
Let's get into that. Let's get into the Liam.
Yeah, I'll just quickly end off on the that singer. So I was with my son, and I was sorry, so I forget. And I was talking about Amy Winehouse, about it's like I said to him, I said, her higher self knew she was going to leave. She knew. It's like she predicted it. It was coming through her music. And then I was talking about that particular music video on that song "Back to Black." The one where the video is black and white at the funeral. And I kid you not, moments straight after, that was the next song that came up on YouTube, and we both looked, all three of us, my son and my daughter, we looked at each other. I'm like, you can't make this up.
No. That's
It's just
wild.
the synchronicity. It was almost like magical, but not magical. Obviously it's energy, but it was just like it was just
Do you
crazy.
remember that one time that was when we first met? We were first talking to each other a lot. It was about a year ago, and I was walking down the street on my lunch break, and I was talking to you on,
Mm,
like we always talk on Messenger, and you were talking about Gwen Stefani. We were talking about Gwen Stefani,
I
and
knew
I
you were going
walked
to say
past the
that.
store, and spider webs came on, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
what are the odds? I'm
I
just
know.
happen to be walking past a store, and spider webs comes wafting out of the store.
But
So weird.
and like the synchronicity I experience with, we all experience it with everyone around us. If you notice it, of course,
Yeah.
because many of us have synchronicity, and we're just not quite woken up yet to that and recognizing them. These signs and stuff. But yeah, me and you have always, this is why we know we're part of the same soul tribe, because we're such a pretty much same frequency vibrational match, aren't we, as a
Well,
soul?
like,
Or
look at our shirts. I
mm.
didn't know you were going to wear a green shirt.
I know. And so much green as well behind you, so that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, I was going to do a Liam Payne video a lot sooner. I don't usually do these kind of videos, but the fact that I was catapulted to Liam energetically and spiritually, and I really got into his energy and got a feel for the type of soul he is and what he is. I thought, I'll do a video, but I didn't want, to do it in a disrespectful way. I'm not a disrespectful person, and I would hate for anyone to think that I'm being disrespectful. So I will be careful in how I speak about him. So Liam played a big role here on this planet, just like all of us do. We all bring something to this world, to this universe, regardless of what soul you are, what skin color, religion, belief, regardless of what soul, where you've lived elsewhere. We're all galactic, spiritual, energetic beings. So I just want to say that as well, just to remind all of you, we all have a part to play here. Some play the good guys, some play the bad guys. Some are, we mentioned this earlier. I'm trying to be conscious and not throw the word or term starseed around too much, because I feel like I'm evolving past that now. Many of you might have noticed I've actually changed my name, Starseed Voyager, to now Galactic Voyager, because we're all galactic beings. And at the beginning, it served me because it helped me find my soul tribe. It helped me connect with myself and who I am. And I had to go through my awakening and understanding of who and what I am, and how to connect the dots and things and stuff like that. But,
Sure.
really, we're all galactic. We're all
Yes.
galactic warriors and souls. We're all on mission. We're all one, and we're all integrating, and we're all frigging awesome. And I love you all. Wow. So, but anyway, let's get back to Pain. So I really sunk into his energy, and I'm trying to think of what order to do it in, because I can't remember the exact order it unfolded, but it doesn't really matter. But I wanted to get a high perspective on Liam. Was it part of his contract? Did he know he was going to go? Was he meant to go? Those kind of things. So I remember, after getting to know him and getting into his energy, it was almost felt like at times I was him. So yeah. So my understanding from a higher perspective point of view is that yes, it was in his contract. His higher self knew this. He chose this because he knew it would be very impactful, which it is. It's very impactful, and I've got the chills as I say this. I might be channeling a little bit here, guys, so just bear with. Yeah, it's very impactful, and yes, his death is unfortunate, very sad. Many of us are grieving. Many of us have been affected. We're being triggered. We are feeling so sorry for his family and his loved ones and everyone around him. It's awful.
Baby, his little boy.
His
Yeah.
little boy Bear. I just want to quickly say as well, please send Liam all your prayers, please. Just even if it's just 1 minute of your time, just he needs these prayers right now. And I will get into it, but I've got to be careful, because I don't want to come across as being disrespectful. I don't want to upset people, who really care for Liam. So I do have to be careful. I might have to leave some bits out because of that. And it is still early as well. So I just want to say that, because it's very important. So yes, so Liam had an important soul mission. He agreed to come down here, as much as I feel like I'm in hate to use the term, but he's an earth angel, which is another term for starseed. He is a starseed. In fact, no, he's a volunteer soul. That's what we're going to go with. He is a volunteer soul, and also is Harry Styles. They actually both know each other, and they've both been on many missions together. So two starseeds and one boy band, and they both agreed on a higher level that they were going to come down to Earth and be a part of this boy band to help spread their love and light. And obviously, clearly, it's worked. Everyone loves them. Yeah, loves both of them. In fact, the whole band, all of them, are all just as much as important as the other. They've all got gifts, amazing voices. If any of you know, and you obviously you understand energy and healing. We can bring healing to the world in many ways by playing music, using our vocals. It's all energy and frequency. And because Harry and especially Liam, it's the high vibrational souls. You can just see when you look into their eyes, they're just full of love. They're full of light. They have so much love for their fans. They're just, so thankful and humble and grateful. Now, I'm not saying they're perfect. I just want to say they are, when we come down from our higher form, from our oversouls, our higher self, and when we come down into human, we have to play along this human, matrix game. We have to intend with the ego, the human mind, and deal with, normal, typical human things as well. We have struggles. Sometimes we are in our ego. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes when we're in a low place, we're not very nice. But then sometimes, we can be really good as well. So, I just want to say, don't put anyone, any starseed or whatever you want to call themselves, any volunteer soul or empath, just don't put them on a pedestal because, we're not perfect. No one's perfect, regardless of who you are. We're here to play the game. We're here to play characters for soul growth, learning, and evolution. Some good, some and positive souls can come down, and their intentions are to be positive, but because of being down here in this planet, which is very polarized, they're up against many groups and lots of positive energies and negative energies, and they get tricked and they get influenced, and they get pushed down wrong directions, and
they get
wrong
stuck.
places.
Sometimes
They get stuck, absolutely.
Or
it's a positive one, or sidetracked or lured and and manipulated. It can happen to anyone, absolutely anyone. No soul is exempt from this, whether you're an angelic soul, a fairy soul, an alien soul, a wolf soul, and it doesn't matter. It does not matter. So many positive souls can come down, and then they can actually turn bad and stay bad, and vice versa. So, if people, I just want to say as well, if you bump into people and they say, oh, I'm a starseed, I just want to say, don't always automatically assume that means they're good or bad, because some of them are neutral, some of them are really good, and some of them are really bad, and some of them can even switch. Yes. Because they're against, what was you saying earlier? It's like that pull and push dynamic.
It's a push pull dynamic. It's like it's a type of energy that exists in this polaric realm. It's a push pull. It's a constant. So it doesn't matter. Like you could be good one day and bad the next, or it could be many years that you could be good, and then all of a sudden turn bad. It's not even turning bad. It's just like you do some things that are bad. You may make some bad choices that make you go down the wrong path. So it doesn't mean you're bad innately. It just means that you've made some bad choices that, then that changed your frequency, and it changed what you're doing with your life, so you can always change, though. That's the thing that's most important, is that there's always, as long as you're still in this meat suit, you can still change your destiny. You're not stuck. You're never stuck.
Exactly.
So that's a very important message to know, that you can always change. Always.
Absolutely. And I was just going to add to that as well. No one's exempt. So we, when we're out of our body and we're in our higher form, we're whole again. We understand. And the thing is as well, even if when we're down here, regardless of who you are, we're whether you've gone down the wrong path or not, whether you've followed and stuck to your soul contract or not, you know, our higher self is always trying to support us and guide us. And that can look like a number of things: angel numbers, feathers, music, songs, you know, it can look like anything. And that's the way, you know, for us, you know, because we are our higher selves, you know, we're just here, just I guess, a fragment, if you like, of that, or however you want to, you know, see it. But we are our higher selves. And so, yeah, like I say, we can change because of many factors. And so with going back to Liam, he made some, so you got to bear in mind as well, he was very young when he got into the industry. He had no idea what he was getting himself into. He was very young, and he didn't know that, you know, people like Simon Cowell were part of the club, and he didn't know who he was hanging around with, and you know, and things like that. But then I guess he did become of an age where he started to understand and realise, okay, what's going on. Perhaps told to do certain things that he felt uncomfortable with. In fact, the whole group. And that's just one example. Many of boy bands and girl bands and singers and artists have been, you know, faced with options and ultimatums and challenges and threats, but I won't go too deep into that. And there was a moment where, and Harry's the same as well, there was a moment where Liam was like, he was in his ego. His ego took over and he was like, yeah, okay, I want to be big. I want to be somebody, you know, like he got sucked into it. He was enjoying it. He loved it. And he just wanted more. So, you know, he signed contracts. And then he started to, as he was progressing, I think roughly around 3 years ago, he started to have his spiritual awakening. His third eye was opening, because that's what's happening to us all. We're all going through a spiritual awakening.
Yep.
And according to another psychic medium, she said that she could literally see demonic beings and entities literally biting at his third eye to prevent him from, you know, further waking up. But it was too late. He already knew enough. He knew the industry, he knew how dark it was, and that's where we're going to get to how it kind of all ended. So basically, his contract come to an end. And he was basically, I wouldn't even say choice. I think it's probably more of an ultimatum, really. You either, and I've experienced this myself, it's not just anyone in Hollywood, you know. Hollywood is just a mask, you know, or however you want to put it. It's just
more concentrated there, you know.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, but it's really concentrated in certain areas. Yeah.
Exactly. So Liam freaked out. He didn't want to sign any contracts, and I know a lot of you have heard apparently that saying that the contract recording record art, what are they called? You have to help me out, Linda, because I'm losing my words.
The record.
There's rumors going around saying that the recording company, that's probably not the correct way to say it,
the record company, yeah.
The record company dropped him. Now they don't drop
the label,
their puppets. They label. They don't drop them. They don't drop their puppets. That's not how I see them. That's literally what they see these people as.
Especially if they're still making especially if they're still making a lot of money for them.
Yeah. So they don't just let them go. As you know, it's been proven time and time again. Look at, I think it's Kesha, Britney Spears. I mean, you know, they can't get out of it. They cannot get out of it, and they eventually end up being, you know, in a bad place.
Mm-hmm.
And so he obviously freaked out.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah, Justin Bieber.
Sorry.
So yeah, sorry, because I'll lose my train of thought. And I don't want to go too much.
A bad place.
Yeah, it was in a bad place. So I don't want to go too much into it, but you know, basically he didn't want to, he wanted out. And so they're making up lies in the media, and you know, it wasn't an accident. They basically suicided him and basically chucked his body. After they'd done what they'd done to him, messed with his head psychologically, they used technology to mess with him, make him paranoid. It was all staged, everything from the crime scene, the smashed TV, the drugs purposely placed there, even going as far as placing the pink drugs, pink cocaine, which we know where that comes from. If many of you are up to date with what's been going on, that's connected to P. Diddy, which we might get into that if we've got enough time. But they purposely placed it in a dove soap box, which Dove is a UK brand soap,
Yeah.
just silly
No, we
little
have it
things
here
like
too.
that.
We have it here
Oh, you
too.
do,
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
So it was all set up. They locked him in. No, sorry, they locked him in the room in the end because he kept coming out because he was basically freaking out, accusing him of being high. Now, I'm not saying he didn't have alcohol in his system because people know he was a drinker, but apparently his actual bloods, there was no signs of drugs in his bloods because he had to do a blood test. And all that come back clear. There was no drugs. And also as well, there's a lot of things going around, those drugs were given to him. I believe they were given to him, but I don't think he actually took them. I think they're obviously in
They
his
injected him.
system.
They injected him. Yep.
They injected him, and basically, yeah, they did other things and stuff.
It's very
So,
easy for them to do that. It's, like they only had to overpower him.
mhm.
And there's signs of foul play in his room. And also Jay-Z and Beyonce were in the same hotel.
Well, supposedly, we don't know, but yeah, that's what people have been saying. But there's definitely, I feel, and Linda feel that there definitely is, they are connected. Because
Definitely shady.
yeah, definitely connected. Because we have to be careful as well, because so many people get on the bandwagon, don't they? And then it's like, I don't want to believe everything I hear, because anyone can say anything. But we know this much: we know that Beyonce and Diddy is connected, and we also know that Liam Payne's ex-girlfriend is also she knows P Diddy, so they're all entangled somewhere. There's a connection.
Yeah.
And I believe they basically threw his body over the balcony. And yeah, but anyway, going back to his sole contract, it wasn't his sole contract, from what I was seeing, but down here it's just how it played out. So we do work together. Unfortunately, the good and the bad, the positive and the negative. We all have roles here. We work together, the yin and the yang, and that might piss a few people off, but yeah, but it does. We feel that dynamic within ourselves. We see it unfold, and we can't have one without the other. And otherwise, we become stuck and stagnant. We wouldn't grow. Anyway, so yes, so that's what I got. And I also just want to mention as well, Harry has got a tattoo of it's like the Masonic handshake tattoo on the back of his arm. And directly under that arm he has got
silver spoon,
a tattoo that says silver spoon. Now people be like, well, yeah, well, that's because he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. No, he wasn't. He was born, he was a normal, average, typical British family. They weren't well off, they weren't poor, they were, guess they were like middle class or lower middle, I don't know, but they were just normal families, normal, typical British average families. He worked in a bakery, his mom,
working class. Yeah,
they had fairly good jobs, but they weren't well off. So no, he wasn't born with it. So don't believe in that nonsense if that starts circulating. So that's in reference to actually Liam, who was very close to Harry. In fact, they were like best mates. I mean, they were all close, but them two particularly were close, especially because they are, they both came down here on mission. They both, agreed upon all this. So it's hardly surprising that they were very close when they were down here. But I don't know why. I didn't look too much into it. All I know is that Liam has a fear of silver spoons, right directly under the Masonic, the tattoo hand sign. People, and that might confuse people. And it's like, but both Liam and Harry know and understand. The higher selves know. They agreed before incarnating. Like, okay, so which role do you want to play? Do you want to be the one that's suicide, or, do you want to be the good cop, bad cop, kind of thing, however they figured it out. And they agreed upon it. And it's a bit like the inside job as well. A lot of, not all, but a lot of starseeds, especially positive starseeds, are purposely born into certain bloodlines. And not, you don't even have to be in certain bloodlines, but, they purposely wanted to be get into the industry, to collect intel, you know, play along, be the character, you know. So look, I just want to say as well, just because we see some celebrities acting evil doesn't necessarily mean they're evil, but then it could be the opposite as well. The opposite is true. They could be just be playing along, know exactly what they're doing, getting into the darkness, getting immersed in it. Sometimes, unfortunately, yes, they have to get their hands dirty, not all the time, to collect intel and information. So they've got enough then to start bringing it up to light, to the surface, for the collective to see, to help dismantle this matrix, to help open our eyes to what's really going on. And we all do that, whether you're in Hollywood or not.
They're like the deep sea divers, you know. They're
Yeah,
like they're going to the
really
bottom
are.
of the sea and collecting all of the rubbish and bringing it
They really are. It's
back
so
up to the
true.
surface. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is basically, in a nutshell. There's a lot more to it, but you know, I just wanted to quickly, just because we're running out of time, but you know, just kind of explain it in a way that I hope you guys, you know, can understand. And of course, it's up to you. It's always up to you guys what it is you want to believe. You know, I'm just a messenger. You know, we all have our own perspectives on things, but that's just what I got. So they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, and yeah. So I'm not saying, I don't know 100% if Harry, his character, let's just say his character down here, okay. Again, we all have roles and, you know, and places. I'm not saying that he had anything to do with Liam's death. I just wanted to point that out. So it's up to you guys what you want to think of that. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's a coincidence, but you know, and this, and I just want to say, this is for entertainment purposes only. You know, this is just, you know, it's just,
Take it with a grain of salt, or take it as you as you may, you know. Do with it as you wish. That's
exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
We're not saying this is the only truth. This is the absolute truth. It's you know, you've got to take what resonates with you. You know, that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to quickly say as well, I do, and I have felt this as well, and I have seen other psychics tap into the same energy. I do feel like another member of One Direction is going to come forward eventually and start revealing some things for us to connect some more dots. I don't know who, which one. I think Harry, if anyone. If not him, then it could be one of the other ones. But yeah, so I believe that Harry's going to start, you know, in the years to come, start revealing some more about, you know, this industry and how dark it is, and talk more about how they were treated as children and stuff like this. I think that's part of his mission, if he sticks to his mission, of course, because he could change bad. You know, we don't know, as what we mentioned earlier.
Do you think that maybe Simon Cowell will be like the next Diddy? You know, like they'll probably start bringing other people into.
Simon is coming down. Yeah, people are already on his case. They already know, of course, he's going to be. They're straight targeted. The targets are straight on Simon immediately when, you know, Liam had passed. Because obviously he was the one. He's the one that made One Direction, isn't it? So he's their manager, I guess. So yeah, he's going to come down. It's all going to come to light. He's no angel. He's part of the club, just like, you know, most of them are. So I don't know whether to leave it for a video on its own, but shall I share with what I saw when I tried to tune into Harry's energy, but I ended up being connected to Liam's? It depends on the time.
Oh yeah, we've got a few more minutes. I think I've got about, I can leave in about maybe 5 or 10 minutes the most.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you have time?
Yeah, I've got time. Yeah.
Okay.
Just want to apologize if I seem like I'm talking fast. It's because I am. It's
my fault. It's my fault. I have a dinner date, a very, very important dinner date with myself.
Me, myself, and I. Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to, because I didn't want to reach out to Leah, because I thought it was disrespectful, because it would have been too soon, and he's going through his own trying to come to terms with what's happened, and you can imagine he's not in a very good place, of course, which is very understandable. So I read in my intentions, set my intentions to connect with Harry, because I know they're connected, the high selves are connected right now, and to see if I could get any information from Harry's higher self, you know, if he could tell me, you know, a bit more information, you know, what really, how did it really unfold? If he could just give me something, you know.
Mm.
And but anyway, so I went to bed, and then all of a sudden I was at the side of Liam, not Harry. So that was a surprise. I was with Harry. Now I want to be careful because I don't want to upset people. He's kind of like in between spaces. He's not crossed over, but he hasn't fully left this our plane, this
This
Earth
realm.
matrix,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
realm. He's kind of caught in between. And yeah, so many of you know, by the way, he was, you know, an MK Ultra victim as well, just like myself, and many volunteer souls down here who have, you know, missions and things like that. Many of us are MK Ultra victims, and Liam was one. And if you're an MK Ultra victim, you have handlers. And Liam had plenty of them, so does Harry. In fact, the whole of the boy bands and anyone in Hollywood has handlers.
Yeah.
So, so I was very surprised to find that I was sat next to Liam. We was on a plane, which was interesting. We was on a plane, and it took me a little while to realise that, but we was on a plane. I won't get too much into the details. It was a very brief encounter, so there isn't really many details, but you know, there was enough to get a feeling of kind of what was going on. So I was basically sat next to him, and he seemed calm. Actually, he just seemed very calm. He didn't really give much eye contact. He didn't seem in distress. I almost got the impression, though, it felt like he was under some kind of hypnosis or control, mind control. I didn't see him suffering, though. I didn't see, you know, him suffering or crying or in hurt and pain and stuff like that. But I did feel like he was under some kind of, control, mind control. And then behind him, I noticed there was a man. I couldn't see his face. I could just see the top of his head. And in between the seats, I could see he was wearing like a black suit. But his presence and his energy was very strong, very powerful, and very, very intimidating. And I felt like he was keeping a close eye, not only over Liam, but also myself. So I now believe that he was a handler, because handlers are not just here on Earth, they are in all dimensions. Well, at least the lower dimensions, of course, particularly the fourth dimension. I don't know if that's where he is, perhaps, because that's the next dimension from ourselves. So he could be. That's where a lot of spirits tend to go. That's where they go when they cross over, is the fourth dimension. Or when they go out of body, of course. And I think when they cross over there, like properly cross over there, then they go back to where they originally came from. But I won't get into that. So anyway, so I felt like we were being heavily monitored and watched. And I just had this feeling. Well, first of all, I started to, like, me and Liam was just casually talking, nothing big. It was so strange. It was just normal things. He mentioned his son Bear, and I spoke a little bit about my daughter, and it was just normal, casual stuff. And then I just felt this uneasy energy come over me, and I felt this great sadness, and I felt like he needed help. And so I started to ask him some more questions verbally, and then all of a sudden, this handler that was behind him, he kind of leaned over at me and he went, "Enough, don't say no more," to me.
Yeah.
And said to Liam not to say anything. And all of a sudden, me and Liam, it was like we were just stunned. We were like these, like caught in the head, like deer in the headlights. We were just like stunned. It was like, because that energy was so intimidating and negative. It was quite heavy. It was horrible. Liam felt it. I felt it. And there was a moment where me and Liam were just literally frozen. And I was like, oh shit, what's going on? You know. And then I kept thinking, how can I connect to him? Because I felt like he needed to speak to me. How can I connect to him? So then I spoke to him telepathically, and he didn't really give much back. I couldn't really hear him too much. Then I was like, what can I do? What can I do? So then I visualized, again, telepathy. I visualized me holding a piece of paper and a pen, and I wrote down on the piece of paper, which doesn't make sense, but I basically put three things: I think it was, "Are you okay?" ? "Are you safe?" ? And "Do you need help?" If I remember correctly. Oh no, "Help me." Sorry, "Help me?" ? And that's what confused me. It's like, help me. It's almost like me saying to him, help me, but I'm not the one that needs help. But I did put question mark, so I guess I don't know. So then I visualized then me bending down again, telepathy. Visualized me bending down and tucking it in his sock, which I knew he felt because we felt that between us. And then I kind of nudged him on the shoulder, and then I looked to this is when I realized we were on a plane, and I looked to the toilet on the
Thank you.
plane, as if to say, I looked at him at the plane as if to say, to the toilet, sorry, as if to say, well, I basically then said telepathically, "Go in there, have a look at the note." And then all of a sudden I was snapped and catapulted out of where I was. So I don't know if that handler or energies took me out of that experience or what, I don't know. But I was just immediately, I woke up from that. So yeah, usually when that happens, when I have experiences like that, it's because I was chucked out. Yeah, I guess there was no other way of putting it. What I said to Linda, I didn't want to share it because, we like to believe and think that when people leave their bodies, that means they're going to go to a good place. And, sometimes that's not always the case. I don't know 100%. This is just my perspective on it. I could be completely wrong. That could have been a protector. It could have been protecting him from me. Who knows? I don't know. I can only go by, what I saw and what I felt. And, as someone who's very sensitive, I'm pretty accurate, not all the time, but I'm pretty accurate at, understanding, what's going on. But of course, he was an MK Ultra victim. I guess it's like that saying, isn't it? It's quite literally, you sell your soul in a sense. They can still have control over you even when you've left your body. However, on a positive, I do want to say his higher self is guiding Liam. I've got the chills now. Yeah. It's almost like his higher self here now so he is in good hands. In fact, I think he might be in good hands now. I think there might have been a moment where they took him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the chills.
That's actually funny that you say that, because before you even said that, I was going to say that there's also the possibility that you were just having that encounter in that moment, and that now at this point in time, he's already okay. Because it's like we're stuck in this time-space continuum right now. But when they leave, they're outside of time and space. When they're in their astral body, they're outside of time and space. So they see it as an all one event.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, it's not like the way we see things, because we're in a limited, we're in a limited perception the way we see things. So what looks like it's bad to us is because we're in this moment. But outside of this moment, everything's already okay. Everything already worked itself out. And so it's good. He's good.
Yeah.
So
and just lastly, before I let you go, so as you was talking to me, I just got imagery, and I got a download of what happened. So basically what happened was, because he went so quick, well, technically he was gone before they flicked him over the balcony. Yeah. But he didn't suffer quite as bad as what many of us probably were imagining. Of course, it wasn't nice. He did suffer a little bit, but at the same time, he left his body pretty quick. It all happened very quick. He left his body pretty quick, and because of that, there were entities already around him. They knew, as soon as he left his body, he was going to be vulnerable, and he was at risk of being hijacked or taken. Were waiting for him. Taken by these negative energies and stuff. And that's basically what happened. But he did have his guides around him at the same time. But they swooped in, took him. So then he was in between worlds, if you like, was what I was saying earlier. And I think when he left his body, because it happened so quick, Liam didn't have time to process what had happened.
Yes.
He was kind of confused.
Yeah.
Angry, upset. He didn't understand what was going on, and then he got and that's what I got. He's now in safe hands. He got saved, and you know, he's in a good place. He kind of like remembered, you know,
Yeah.
and now he'll be doing what a lot of spirits will be doing now, is transmuting, healing, grieving, and
Hmm.
doing what he needs to do now. Yeah. So.
Right. Like, yeah, he's healing right now. He's in the healing place. Where when I say right now, where we are right now, like he's
Mm,
not in time, really, literally. I mean, it's hard to understand, but there's no such thing as time outside of
mm,
this, you know, realm. So
yeah.
where he is, there's no time. So he's already healed. Everything is already good with him.
Mm,
And he was delivered by by his guides, and so he only went through a very brief period of confusion, and
mm,
whatever else they did. So it was very brief compared to where he is now, which is in a good place. So he's in a good place
mm,
now. That's
yeah.
my feeling anyway. That's my gut feeling,
Yeah.
because
He is.
we're we're in this now that's a different now than the now he's in. I'm
Oh
making
yeah.
it very
Yeah.
complicated, but but
Definitely.
yes.
And he's sending lots of signs as well. His higher self is sending so many signs. It's
Mm,
beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and when
he's
you
good.
tune into that, then, he knows that everybody's really grieving him right now and that they really care
Mm,
about him. And
mm,
he loves you all. He loves his fans. So he
so,
doesn't want to see you being sad, and he wants to comfort you. So where he's at right now is a place of, comfort. So
yeah.
that's
And it
what he's trying to do.
sorry, I'm talking
No, no,
over
go
you.
ahead. Go ahead.
But no, it explains why, because you know, when it before, even before I realised it was in a not a very nice place. Remember me saying to you, I said I
Mm,
can't shake the feeling off Liam. I feel his energy, and he's not in a good place. I can feel like the fear, and he's scared, he's confused, and he's just, you know, really in a. Not, I felt his energy, and I couldn't shake it off. That was then, which makes sense why I connected with him, even though my intentions were to connect with Harry, but it was Liam. So I
mm,
guess he felt that, because obviously, you know, we're all connected, aren't we? And it makes sense now why, shortly after that experience, my energy kind of just pulled back from him. I wasn't so consumed by his energy, because I was no longer feeling his, you know, his
right.
dark energy, his energy of his sadness and fear and stuff like that. So yeah, so since then I've been able to sleep a bit better, because I just know and sense, he's in a good place. So
That's great.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well,
Right.
I'm gonna have to take off now,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but I think this was great, and I'm really glad that you were able to share all of that information with everyone. I think it was really helpful, and
Yeah. I hope so.
it's something that we needed to share, that we were compelled to share, you and I, both of us. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I felt like Liam wanted me to share that as well. And
definitely.
yeah, and I did. So there we go. But anyway,
Yes.
you go off and then you enjoy your lovely meal.
Thank you.
And I will speak to you soon. And I hope you enjoyed, whoever's watched this. And we'll both speak to you soon in the future. Anyway, bye,
Yes.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.